I 30M called my wife 27F manipulative and now she's emotionally distant. Trigger warning. Emotional abuse, death of a dog in the past. I, M30, got into an argument with my wife, F27, a couple months ago, and ended up saying some really hurtful things that she can't forgive me for. Essentially, we never fight. We have disagreements that are quickly resolved, but have only had one real fight in the decade we've been together. My wife is incredibly emotional. Sad ad? Tears. Reading a book? Tears. Telling even a remotely sad story? Tears. She feels things very deeply and responds sometimes inappropriately with the amount of emotion she reacts with. I've tried to not have a problem with this as I know that's just her nature, but it can be overwhelming sometimes and embarrassing others. About 3 months ago we happened to get into a huge fight. She was telling a story to some friends and embellishing quite a bit, so I just said, "Hey, I think you're lying a bit here, that didn't really happen like that." I wasn't trying to take away from the story, but I hate liars and she does it a fair bit when storytelling. She told me that she just does it for comedic effect, and that everyone knows she doesn't tell stories 100% accurately. It was still bothering me however after everyone went home, and I brought it up again, to which she told me that we'd already talked about it, and she didn't need me to correct her in front of her friends. I'll spare the rest, but we essentially got into a fight. And I raised my voice. She immediately started crying, more like sobbing, and I told her that she was being manipulative doing that. Every time I bring up something she takes as a critique she begins crying, and it's a manipulative way to get me to stop talking about whatever's bothering me. My mom did the same thing to my dad, and I hate when women do that. She asked me through shuttered breathing if I really thought that and I said yes. I told her that she manipulates the argument into going her way by crying and being the victim. She told me she couldn't even look at me and locked herself into our room to calm down. She came out a few hours later and told me that she was sorry if I thought she was being manipulative and that it wouldn't happen again. Problem solved, right? Except it's not at all. I didn't notice it immediately, but she started pulling away from me. She won't watch movies with me if there's any sad parts. She doesn't tell me the stories she used to. She won't tell stories to friends when I'm around, and now our friends don't want me to go out when they do, because they say she's not fun when I'm there. She stopped reading books in the living room, stopped watching unpredictable TV shows. She won't even talk to her mom on the phone when I'm in the room. I feel like I'm living with a ghost now. It wasn't until yesterday that I even realized I haven't seen her cry since our fight. I brought it up last night and she told me that she didn't want to manipulate me anymore. I told her that her everyday crying wasn't manipulative, and she said, "So it's only manipulative when you're mad at me, and now I don't know what to do." I apologized, said I was wrong for saying that to begin with, and that I shouldn't have, but it didn't help. I asked if she wanted to watch The Notebook with me since it's her favorite movie, and she told me she doesn't like it anymore. Update: I've scheduled with an online therapist for tomorrow, and I'm currently waiting for my wife to come home. I'm not sure how she's going to react to what I have to say, but I'm hoping she will give me a chance to make this right. I know it isn't something that can be fixed in a day or with a simple apology, but I'm willing to try anything at this point. I've researched marriage counselors in our area, but want to see how she feels before going forward with it. I also called my parents and let them know we would be going NC with them for a while I try to fix my mistakes at home. I'm not so sure they will want to talk with me even if I fix it, as they were furious that I will be excluding them from this part of my life. But going off of the thread, I know that that's a boundary I need to make, to be able to focus my energy where it's needed and disregard opinions that could only prove to further divide us. I know many people have hoped she will leave me. And if that's the avenue she wants to proceed with, I won't hold her back from a happy future with someone who doesn't diminish her feelings and make her feel like less than she is. Update: I talked to my wife last night. There was so much to say, and I've never been good about sharing my feelings, so it started off painfully awkward. I started with apologizing, not what I did before by just saying sorry, but a full, I attacked your character and assumed the worst of you when given no prior reasoning to do so. I've damaged and hurt you in a way that I will never forgive myself for, and I would understand if you couldn't either. There was more, but I'll save you guys from every detail. She was mostly shocked when I started and didn't say anything, but she did reach out for me in the first time since I messed up. She looked like she was trying so hard not to cry, and I let her know that her crying has never been the problem in our relationship, that my unwillingness to accept people and see the worst was. It resulted in tears, and in that moment, I realized how much I missed her being her. I told her about how I was starting therapy, and that I would like to do marriage counseling someday, to do what I can to mend the damages I've caused between us, but that I would need to go by myself for a while, to get to the base reasons of why I react so harshly to things. Some of the comments suggest I write a letter to her, and so while I waited for her to get home, I did that. I wrote about how much I loved her, all of the things about her that made me happy, all the quirks and mannerisms that were undoubtedly her. And then I told her I went NC with my parents. I've never seen her light up so fast. She asked me if I was being serious, and I told her that to be able to focus on her I couldn't have them whispering in my ear anymore. She hugged me, and cried for the better part of an hour, saying that they're one of the worst parts of being married to me. She said she can't forgive easily, but that she wants to work on us together. She wants us to move away from my family, and we're discussing options that could make that possible. I am not a good person in general. No one has ever described me as warm or caring except my wife. And I almost lost her being manipulative myself and selfish. I can't put into words how much I appreciate every comment, no matter the content. It made me realize just how much I fucked up. I don't deserve her, but she's willing to give me a second chance at this, and I'm going to be different. I don't think it'll be quick or easy, but I would do anything for her. Comment from OP explaining why he went no contact with his parents. I appreciate your comment. My family definitely has a lot of problems, but my mom is one of them. I don't want to get into detail about her because I don't know her very well, and she very well could have been abused by my father. However, when I was in elementary, she drowned my dog as a punishment for something remedial. I'm going to focus on my primary relationship with my wife. And consider during that time how much time I want to continue devoting to my family after that. OP has very repetitive comments on his posts, but the gist of it is, 1. His wife embellishes stories like stand-up comedians and exaggerates a bit. She doesn't lie about him. 2. His father told him that his mother manipulates by crying all the time. OP has never seen his mum cry.